Hey there, good evening. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show, a show that is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So this is my series that I'm going to be doing for the month of December. This is day 3, December the 3rd, and this will be the third band. Okay, so this band is a little bit different than the previous two. It definitely has some prog elements to the music, but are very much at the edge of what I might consider prog rock here. Lots of space kind of rock, so that's why I kind of include them. They have a spacey kind of progressive sound to them. Also a lot of psychedelic feel to their music as well. The other thing about this band that I normally don't listen to these type of bands for this reason. There is no vocals on the album. It's entirely instrumental album. There are some voices here and there that, and I'm not even really 100% sure they're voices. They could be synthesizer effects. And there's a lot of synthesizers on this album. It's very synthesizer driven. Some great kind of interesting sounds and some great little percussion bits, cymbals, bells, chimes, that kind of stuff. There's lots of that on this album. There's the drummer is really good. I think he may be the best musician on this album. Keyboardist, of course, probably doing synthesizers and keyboards together. Very dominant on the album. There is some good guitar. There are some good guitar bits and some good bass bits on this album as well. So the band is called Ozric Tentacles, and the album is their debut vinyl album, I guess you might want to call it. They did have a series of cassettes that they made themselves that they would sell at their concerts so that people could listen to them. But their first real album came out that was on a label that was produced as an album was this one called Pungent Effulgent, I think it's called. Pungent Effulgent. Okay, has basically the original album had 7 tracks. The version I have here that I listened to and I'm going to talk about had 10 tracks, and it was a little bit longer, so we're going to do this one because it was the one that I could find that carried all of what I wanted, and there's a little bit extra, so I'm not going to complain about that. So there are about, most of the songs are in between 6-9 minutes in length. There's a couple, I think there's one that's a little bit longer, but most of them fall within that range. Okay, the first track on the album is called Disillusion, The Cloud Disperse. So the other thing I wanted to talk about the album before I get going too far into it is that some pretty interesting album covers from them in general. This particular one, I don't know if it's going to be able to see it. I took a picture of it because I thought it was really good. Yeah, you're not going to be able to really capture the effect here. If I can get it closer without the lighting, probably not. Let's try a little bit further over. There it is. You might be able to see it. So I'll try to describe what it is that's there. So you have kind of a witch-like creature standing over a pond, probably hovering in the air, dropping something and lighting it with her finger, or his finger, whatever the case may be. The landscape around it is all psychedelic, like the landscape, the mountains in the background, and the sky are all very psychedelic. There's lots of really kind of interesting looking things on the album cover. And I find all their albums are, like I looked at some of their other albums, it's the same kind of effect. They have a lot of that, so kind of interesting. So anyways, this album starts out strongly. Some guitar and keyboard mixes here. Pretty dominant keyboards. A lot of spacey kind of psychedelic sounds going on this particular track. As you'll find it is with a lot of their tracks. The drums are excellent, like I said before. And the keys and the bass really drive this song from a background standpoint. they're constant throughout the song, giving it its kind of its backbone. Okay, and then there are some voices towards the end, but they're very spacey and psychedelic. So I'm almost about this. I'm pretty sure that this is just the synthesizer effect. So I could be wrong, but that's what I think it is. Okay, so then the next song was called, and that song I liked. I think it's probably my favorite on the album. The next song is 01, another kind of an interesting song. It's a shorter, probably one of the shorter songs of the album. Nice keyboard opening. Then some heavy bass drum infusions as the track goes along. It's got a nice kind of Indian sound to the keyboards when he does his parts. Of course, there's no vocals on that track at all. The next song is called Farlam Dawn. It starts out quietly with a nice kind of synthesizer background, just like real mellow. It's almost like a meditational sound to it. Then there's some acoustic guitar effects. What does that mean? Well, it's acoustic guitar, but obviously it's been punched through some kind of synthesizer where you're getting these sound effects from it, and that's my guess. I'm not a guitar specialist or anything like that, but that's what I think. The percussion bits are good. There's quite a bit of them here, and they mix in well with the keyboards, I think. And then there's this kind of a flute or a flute-like sound. I don't know if it sounds a little bit synthetic, so it could be either a flute pumped through a synthesizer or the synthesizer effect itself, one or the other. It's not really a heavy track, more of a meditation piece, this particular song. It's probably this and the first track are the two I like the most. So I'm just going to switch this so I can get to my notes here. Then you have the Domes of Gabal. Some interesting titles for some of their songs. Very spacey opening, pretty heavy guitar and key part that follows the opening, and lights. There's a bit of a light guitar sound that kind of in the background, and then you have a very good solo towards the middle end of the song. Really, really tastefully done. And then there's a couple of parts. Well, there's one part for sure. There's another part that has a similar effect, but it's not quite the same. But there's a part where it sounds like that Space Invaders attacking thing as they get faster. That's what that reminds me of. It's almost perfectly sounds like it. And then later they do a little bit more of that, but it's not quite the same effect. The next song, Shaping the Pelm, is another track I like quite a bit on this. Some nice keyboards and some really good chimes effects on this as well. It moves into this kind of a bongo effect with the keyboards mixed in, and almost an African sound. I think gives you that kind of African feel to it, natural feel to it. And then and then there's a little bit of voices in the background, but that again could be keyboard effects. So the next track is called, I'm going to mess this one up, I know it. It's Agurvedic. Or Ayurvedic. Probably Ayurvedic is probably the name of the track. Some voices again at the beginning. Could be synthesizers, like I said. It's got this real dark feel. The opening of the song is kind of very dark. More synthetic and keyboard sounds here. Some heavy distinct bass. The bass is very dominant on this song. You'll hear quite a bit of it. Builds the bass, the drums, and the guitars. They start building, and the song builds to a crescendo at the end. A pretty good song. It's not bad. I like it. Then you get the song Kick Muck, which kind of stands out a bit from the other songs. It starts out really heavy. Some real heavy guitar synthesizer. It's either a guitar punched through the synthesizer or just a keyboard that sounds like a guitar punched through the synthesizer. I'm not really sure which one, but it's one of the two. Heavy truck. It's a heavy track. It drives hard right from the beginning till the end. And it's got this kind of spacey Indian symphony kind of keyboard sound to it. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's got that effect that you get when you play a sitar or something like that, something similar to that. Then you got Agog in the Ether. Oh, that Kick Muck was another one of the tracks I liked quite a bit. Agog in the Ether. Kind of has this kind of live synthesizer noises to it too. I'm not quite sure how you want to describe that. Keyboards build on this song, and it's just a very keyboard dominated track. So then the final two tracks, which are called Relch, I think I pronounced that right. Some various noises and some body-like sounds. It sounds like somebody's having gastritis of some kind, or gas backing, and they kind of make it sound like that. But some good percussion and some different sounds in that part. The guitar and the drums are kick it up and have like such a strong beat to them on this particular song. Not one of my favorite tracks though. I found that noise is a little bit disquieting. Okay, and then the final track is similar to the other one that I had a problem saying. Ayurdavism. This one is not Yurdavik. This is Yurdavism. So this actually, I think they may have recorded that Yurdavik live and added parts to it and just renamed it Yurdavism. That's my guess, because it's got a lot of similar parts to it than the other one had. Some really fast-paced keyboards on this particular song. The song speeds up as it goes along. They tend to be a little bit like that in their music. The music will start kind of quiet with a few noises and then gradually build to a crescendo. A lot of their songs are like that. And they often finish off by coming down. But they don't do it all the time. Sometimes they just go right to the end. But for the most part, that's what they do. They start out kind of slow, build to a crescendo, and then drop off and gradually ease out of the song. It seems to be a kind of theme that they like to follow. The last two songs are probably the two songs I like the least on the album. So, anyways, did I like the album? Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I've only listened to it once. It's really, really hard, especially with an album like this, has so much going on. Like, there are a lot of little noises and stuff that you're gonna miss. You can't get them all the first hear. It's gonna take a lot of listening to really appreciate the full volume of this album. But I think it's a good album. Some great instrumentation on this album. Like I said, the drummer is really good. Keyboardist is very dominating on the album. Guitar and bass a little bit more in the background. No vocals. That's kind of a negative for me. I prefer my music with vocals. But on the whole, it wasn't a bad listen to. It's one of those albums you might want to sit back, put on when you just wanted to sit there and relax and listen to something without any kind of stress. It could be a good album for that. Yeah, it was a bit longer than I generally like in albums too. This version was about an hour and 6 minutes long. I think the original version would have been more to my liking. It was only 40 minutes, but this was the version I found, so this is the one I had to play. I guess I could have cut out the tracks that weren't originally on the album and just done the review on the 7 tracks that were, but I decided, you know what, I'll give the whole thing a listen to, try it that way this time. So there you have it. So this is day 3 of my series, December the 3rd. Album is called Pungent. Sorry, I forgot. I wrote it down here. Yeah, Pungent Effulgent from the band Ozric Tentacles. So they've been around since this album came out in '89. They've been around since they were around for about most of the '90s. They were pretty predominant. So they've got quite a few albums. I'm not sure how many. It looks like about 10 or 12. And if you like space rock, psychedelic rock with some progressive rock thrown in there, if you like instrumentation more than you do the vocals. This is a pretty good band to go to, I think. A lot of really great comments about them in the comment section of the video. So well worth, I think, give them a listen to at least once anyways. Whether I collect these guys or not, I'm not really sure. It depends on what I see out there. You know, I may get this album. I might try something different. They're not a band I'm going to listen to a lot because of the lack of vocals. That's going to hurt them. Unfortunately, that's the way it is with me. And that might change in time, but I don't see it happening anytime soon at the moment. So anyways, I hope you like this video, so please like and subscribe. And we'll be back tomorrow, day 4, December the 4th, with yet another group and another album. Take care. Bye.